Hello, Mother. It is I, your darling son, known to viewers of this channel as the legendary Zoltan. Everyone, if you enjoy this video, be sure to thank my mother in the comment section. Thank her for giving birth to me and for giving me the coolest middle name of all time, Zoltan. So, Mom, I thought I'd make this fun video about a video game series that I think would appeal to you. Some of your preferences in fiction have rubbed off on me. I still don't like horror, not even a little bit, but medieval fantasy and role-playing games are my two favorite things. And thanks to you, I can say I have played the first Might and Magic, the first Wizardry, and the first Bard's Tale games. So thanks, Mom. Lines like that have always made me very popular with the ladies. This series that I'm about to introduce you to made some big advancements for action RPGs and game design in general. The series started in 2009 and became a big hit in 2011, completely changing the video game industry. The reason I would like to show this game to you, this series to you, is not because I want you to play them. To be honest, I think you would hate to play them. I just think the dark fantasy art style will impress you. Of course, not only you. If my little sister is watching this, she might be interested in this too. Maybe this will inform the next game purchase for your kids. So sit back and relax while I show and tell you about the Souls series. First, let's do a quick overview of the company that makes Souls games. This is a Japanese game company that has always been a very niche developer and has always had one of the weirdest names in the industry, From Software. What the hell does that mean? I'm pretty sure they just mean the English language preposition from, as in, I came from America. But that sounds dumb. So, who are these guys called From Software? They've been around for a long time making a variety of games, but their most successful franchise before the Souls series was a robot simulation series called Armored Core. Thank God they gave their game a cool name instead of calling it something like From Robot. It was successful enough to continue for years and years. There are about 20 Armored Core games, but it was always and still is a very niche franchise because it's like 30 minutes of comparing and selecting robot parts for every 10 minutes of actually using your robot in the field. Thanks to my friend Mike for introducing me to Armored Core 1 back in 1999. So that is what From Software was making before. Now let's get to how the Souls series came to be. As I said, this has become one of the most influential franchises in the entire industry. And I really mean influential, not just popular. There are lots of games that have sold far more units than a Souls game, but the influence is on a whole new level. A lot of the time when companies announce an open world game, like The Elder Scrolls, where you can go to any location in the world and do any quest in any order, or a battle royale game, which is a 100-player free-for-all shooting game, or a historically accurate World War II first-person shooting game. It is my opinion that they were influenced to make such a game because of how much money the most popular game in that genre made. The biggest game studios in the world are often chasing trends, but the Souls series does not boast the kind of numbers that those other genres have. The most popular games in those genres sell 20 to 30 million copies. The game that put the Souls series on the map has only sold 3 million. Despite that, there have been a lot of games made that were inspired by Souls games. So I don't think it's incredible sales that people are noticing when they look at Souls games. I think their far-reaching influence, which I will show you, can be attributed to simply being good games. So let me tell you what these games are. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the first Souls game. It's called Demon's Souls. That's right, Demon's Souls with an apostrophe S. There's another weird name for you. It may not look like much at a glance, but this is where the gaming revolution begins. This game and the entire series was created by a man named Hidetaka Miyazaki. I find this guy's story to be so damn cool. It's the ultimate example that opportunity does not come knocking. It's whispering all around you, and most of us just can't hear the whispers. But Hidetaka Miyazaki did. When he got hired by From Software, he was assigned to work on Armored Core games. During that time, he heard that another team within the company was working on an action RPG with a dark fantasy setting. He also heard that the game was not turning out well and that it was already considered a failed project. Probably because they named it Demon's Souls. So after he finished the current Armored Core game, he was like, let me take care of Demon's Souls for you. Since the game was already considered a failure, Hidetaka wasn't afraid to do whatever he wanted with it. So what kind of game did he make? He made a dark fantasy action RPG, as per the original plan. But what was special about it? The dark fantasy setting was somewhat unique for the time. It's fashionable now thanks to Game of Thrones and the Souls series. But in 2009, when Demon's Souls came out, home console RPGs were overall as bright as ever, especially Japanese RPGs, which often had an anime aesthetic. The game's soundtrack did an excellent job of supporting the dark fantasy setting and did so in a unique and inexpensive way. The game has you exploring, fighting zombies, and picking up items off of dead bodies with only the ambience of the environment to accompany you. Then, you'd be fighting huge monsters and giant knights with appropriately epic music. Where most RPGs have between 60 and 100 songs, the Demon's Souls soundtrack only has 24. It's a shining example of doing more with less. The game also had a lot of customization. You can create a wide variety of characters, from glass cannon type sorcerers to heavily armored knights. There were lots of armor sets with different defense parameters and appearances, as well as a huge variety of weapons, shields, and magic spells. When you beat the game, you can start a new game with your current character as is, but now with increased difficulty. You can do this up to 7 times and eventually level up every character parameter to 99, while enjoying a different experience each time depending on the abilities and equipment you use. On top of all that, the stages are laid out in a way that allows you to choose the order in which you complete them. All of these things add up to extremely high replay value. The level design is a whole new world. While none of the areas are mazes, most of them are very large, have multiple paths you can take to the boss, contain a plethora of hidden treasures, have realistic layouts, have illusory walls, have traps, and have unlockable shortcuts. And there is no in-game map. The game also had a unique online multiplayer aspect as well. Instead of teaming up with your friends, you were forced to team up with random players. You could put your soul sign on the ground, and it would appear to anyone else playing in that area on the same server. If another player found your soul sign, they could summon you out of your game and into theirs, and you could help them get through the stage and take down the boss, and then be returned to your world. You could also forcefully invade other players' world as a dark phantom, run through the stage searching for them, and kill them. It sounds unfair, and it totally is, but there is at least the possibility that the person you are invading has 1 or even 2 summoned allies to help them eliminate you first. In Demon's Souls, you don't get experience points and gold pieces. Instead, enemies give you souls. These souls are used for leveling up and for shopping. When you die, you drop all of your souls on the ground where you were slain. If you make it back to the place you died, you can pick them back up. But if you die again before that, they disappear forever. This mechanic has received the highest praises imaginable because of the way it rewards observant players. Players will always be able to reclaim their dropped souls if they are patient in their journey back to their blood pool, and if they paid attention to how they died, they should be able to not die in the same way again and continue to make progress through the level. Many consider this to be a genius mechanic that makes the Souls games what they are. Demon's Souls also had a very unique method of storytelling. There is a scene at the beginning of the game and a number of characters that you can talk to, but that's where conventional storytelling ends in Souls games. If you don't search for it, you could finish the entire game and have no idea that there even was any story beyond the opening cutscenes. But if you read the descriptions of every item you find, you can piece the story together and fill in the blanks yourself. This lack of hand-holding was very popular. People who just wanted to play the game could do so without interruptions, and people who loved lore loved it more because they had to work for it. All of these things I have mentioned come together to make a very solid game. But there was one aspect of Demon's Souls that got the word of mouth going more than all of the others combined. Great music, great level design, epic boss battles, tons of character customization, unique online multiplayer, and a unique method of storytelling all helped add to the game. But the thing that had this game on the lips of everyone who played it was the fact that it was really, really hard.
Wait! No! Wait. What happened? What?
How hard was Demon's Souls? It was so hard that they killed you during the tutorial. It was so hard that after you died in the tutorial, you had to continue playing as a ghost with half your maximum hit points. It was so hard that a couple of the weakest enemies in the game could kill you no problem. It was so hard that you weren't even allowed to level up until you defeated the first boss with half HP. And guess what? The first stage is the longest stage in the game. The opening of this game is definitely a high barrier to entry. The president of Sony, makers of the PlayStation console and the publisher of Demon's Souls, played it before release for 2 hours. He couldn't get past the first level and declared the game, quote, an unbelievably bad game. And because of that, after the game was released in Japan, Sony decided not to make an English version for the West. Thank God another publisher came along, because this game that was considered a failed project by the company that developed it and an unbelievably bad game by the president of the company that published it in Japan ended up selling 3 times as many total copies the game was expected to sell. Kick ass, Hidetaka Miyazaki. So that is how the Soul series came to be. Before moving on to the game that made the series famous, let me show you some of my favorite moments from Demon's Souls. Okay, Mom, I've just told you all about how the first level is a massive barrier to entry. The main difficulty being that you can't level up until you beat the level, and it's really long level, and you have only half your maximum HP. It's evil. Now, this game does reward observant players. If you can find it, there is an enchanted ring called the Cling Ring that reduces the amount of HP lost when you're dead. So you can continue with 75% instead of 50% of your HP. But Cling Ring or no, I'm sure you can imagine the relief and the sense of accomplishment that comes with beating the first boss. Now, you can finally level up, and you're ready to take on stage 1-2, right? Well, watch this, Mom. As soon as you begin the second stage, you go through this little tunnel. And then you step out onto the battlements, or whatever they're called. And a dragon swoops in from out of nowhere and burns you to a crisp. After you just came back to life and got your maximum HP restored. Now it's gone again. Pure evil genius. Okay, Mom, check this out. This is one of my favorite boss battles in the game. She's called the Fool's Idol. I just love the visual design and the gameplay design of her battle. Check out the visuals first. You're in a candlelit church with a bunch of zombies stumbling around the pews. There's a very tall stained glass window in the back, and the boss herself is a floating four-armed woman. I love how she uses two of her arms to read a book as she uses the other two arms to kill you. Her attack pattern is really easy to understand. She shoots magic at you every time you step out in the open. So you have to avoid the shot and then hit her with your sword. After a few hits, she'll disappear and later reappear with up to 5 clones of herself. After reappearing, she casts a spell that creates magic circles on the floor. After a few seconds, the circles fade away, but they are actually still there, and if you step on one, you will be paralyzed right where you stand for like 5 seconds. This setup is where I find the design of this battle to be really well thought out, at least in concept. The concept for a melee character like mine is that you have to figure out which Fool's Idol is the real one. Navigate your way between the pews to reach her and slash her without getting pelted by magic. And that means you have to remember where the magic circles are and deal with the zombies getting in your way. And if you accidentally touch a magic circle or spend too much time stationary while dealing with a zombie, all 6 Fool's Idols are going to hit you with magic missiles and possibly kill you. If you wanted, you could probably take out all the zombies while there is still only one of her and not have that obstacle when there are 6 of her. But then you'd only have trial and error to figure out which idol is the real one because the zombies worship in the direction of the real one. Sounds genius, right? They actually make it way easier than that because no magic circles ever appear on the outside edges of the room. And you can instantly tell which idol is the real one because she shoots way larger magic at you than all the others. You still have to time when you step out from cover so that you don't get pelted with magic, and the zombies do actually get in your way. Okay, sorry for nerding out on the game design. The mind-blowing moment of this boss fight is right here. You kill her. And nothing happens. Huh? Now what do I do? So you get that mysterious voice, and all you can do is leave the way you came. This is a puzzle the player has to solve. On the way to the boss, there are these 2 stairwells. The one on the right leads to a key and a zombie. But this zombie can talk.
What do you want? I am a humble servant. I do not wish to interfere. I won't cause you trouble. I won't.
That's what he says, and I can take the keys behind him, and he doesn't care. But it turns out this dude resurrects the Fool's Idol every time you kill her. So you had to notice that the voice after you killed the boss is the same as this guy's voice, which I would argue is not easy to notice. If you're lucky, someone will have left a message on the floor here saying that he's a liar. And if you're unlucky, someone will have left a message that says, "Don't attack." And that message will have received lots of recommendations from other players because they want you to feel endless pain. So you just have to kill this guy. But guess what? After you kill this guy, you have to fight the Fool's Idol again. Can you believe the sadists over at From Software? They expect you to go somewhere else and solve a puzzle, and if you don't figure it out, you'll have to fight the boss over and over again. Pure, evil genius. Okay, just 2 more cool Demon Souls things. Aesthetically, this is my favorite boss fight in the game, and he's called the Penetrator. I just think he looks amazing. He is actually not as hard as some of the others, though. You just have to dodge roll and counterattack over and over again. But it can be hard to find exactly the right moment that it is safe to get a slash in. Considering how egregiously over-leveled I am here, you'd think I'd have an easier time than I am, but I am admittedly not that great at video games. You guys didn't expect me to say that, did you? Okay, the last thing I want to show you from Demon's Souls is this monster called the Man-Eater. This boss is freaking evil. There are plenty of difficult areas and bosses throughout the game, but the first time you fight this one, you will be in total denial. You'll just be like, they can't be serious. They expect me to do this. Your first time through the game, every stage and every boss will take multiple attempts to figure out. It's a slow-going grind. So you can imagine how taken aback one would feel after defeating the Fool's Idol and then finding out that you have to kill her again. What this battle does is twice as crazy as that. So here's the battle. The Man-Eater looks like a kind of like a black manticore. Not only is this boss as strong as any other in the game, not only is it the same color as the night sky, making it hard to see, not only do you have to fight it on a narrow walkway that is easy to fall from, not only can it fly, forcing melee weapon users to wait for it to come down. You know what? I'm not ready to spoil it yet. Just imagine that you were fighting this thing and you died. And you had to run all the way back here again, and you fought it again, and you drained it of 20% of its HP, and then you died again. You fought it again, and you drained it of 30% HP, and you died again. You fought it again, and you drained it of 45% HP, and you died, but you feel like you figured out how to avoid at least half of the Man-Eater's attacks. So you try it again. You've taken off 50% of its HP. My dear mother, my darling sister, what do you think happens at 50% HP? You know it's going to be bad. It's one of the highest difficulty spikes in any game ever. I've built it up this much. Are you ready to hear what happens at 50% HP? At 50% HP, another one shows up. So that was the birth of the Souls series. Next up, I'll tell you about what happened when the series became a huge hit, and then I'll finally get to the original purpose of this video and show you some awesome scenes from Dark Souls 3. As I said, Demon Souls came out in 2009 and sold 3 times more than From Software expected. This, in my opinion, acted as a primer for its sequel, which came out in 2011. It was called Dark Souls. Dark Souls was basically the same thing as Demon Souls, but with more equipment choices, more character classes, more stages, more bosses, more lore to find, and better graphics. There were 2 major changes that made everyone praise Hidetaka Miyazaki all over again. The first was that they got rid of healing items and replaced them all with a single reusable one, the Estus Flask. You're healed every time you drink from it, but it runs out and it can only be refilled at checkpoints. This means you can't grind an easy area over and over for souls so you can buy 99 healing items. Once you've drunk all your Estus, you have to either try to beat the rest of the area or the next boss without healing, or go back to the checkpoint and refill your flask. But if you do that, all the enemies you killed respawn. Everybody loves this mechanic and praises it as a genius way to ensure that players learn how to defeat bosses with a limited number of mistakes they can make, instead of overpowering every challenge with an unstoppable number of healing items, like I did. I wanted to hurry up and make this video, guys. The other major change was the world layout. Instead of separate stages, it was all just one interconnected world. And the amount of care taken in connecting one area to another was shocking to people. Don't know what I'm talking about? Watch this. This is the very first area in the game after the tutorial, Firelink Shrine. Now watch where I go from here. And this elevator right here. When players ride this elevator for the first time, they have a realization that somebody out there cares and really puts some thought into this world's design. And that Dark Souls isn't just about overcoming combat challenges, but also about unlocking the world, the joy of exploration, becoming one with the environment, puppies, nutritious eringi mushrooms. Those are my favorite mushrooms, by the way, eringi mushrooms. You cook them with meat and they taste just like the meat. And you arrive right back at the very first area. I know it seems like I'm making too big a deal out of it, but people really noticed the layout thing because of things like this, and they were pleasantly surprised. Somebody was so impressed by it that they made this 3D map of the entire world that you can rotate and everything. This was the moment that everything changed. From people who made games to people who played games, the people that stepped onto that elevator in the Undead Burg, and the people that stepped off that elevator back in Firelink Shrine were not the same people. After Dark Souls came out, everything was different. Even the language with which people talked about video games. Every gamer eventually became aware of the existence of Dark Souls. A lot of people wanted to know what the hype was about, and they were not happy with the high difficulty of the game. Whenever someone complained about how hard it was, people from the Dark Souls community would reply with the now infamous phrase, "Get good." Tons of independent game developers started making Dark Souls-inspired games. So many games, in fact, that the term Souls-like has become an entire game genre. Every gaming news website and game reviewer kept referring to games that are difficult as the Dark Souls of such and such series. AAA game developers would even describe their own upcoming games as the Dark Souls of such and such genre. Some gamers realized how precious time is and stopped playing other games and exclusively played Souls games. And lots of YouTube channels make lots of money talking exclusively about Souls games. A lot of people who played Dark Souls also decided to check out Demon Souls. The official online servers have, of course, been shut down, but to this day, you can still play Demon Souls online thanks to a fan-run private server. A once niche developer is now very well known. Everybody praises Hidetaka Miyazaki as a game design genius, and he has since become the president of From Software. Mom, are you ready to finally see the monsters that I wanted to show you? I think they look really cool, and I think you'll like them too, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I promise I wasn't originally planning to make it this long. I was just going to show you the art and be done, but then I thought, well, she'd want to know at least a little bit about it, and then a little bit turned into a lot. I'm sorry. But, now you know what I like. Stuff, otaku stuff like this. I'm not going to add any commentary to this ending part because a big part of why these boss battles are so damn cool is the atmosphere created by not just the designs of the bosses themselves, but also their battle arenas and, of course, the music. And actually, the first thing in this compilation is me sitting on the title screen so you can listen to the opening song. I considered putting that song as background music during some other part of the video, but I think the song is best consumed without distractions. And the final battle in the compilation against the Abyss Watchers plays out all the way to the end. And I won't spoil whether or not I used failure footage or victory footage. So cheer for me. I love you, Mom. Email me if you have any interest in another video like this in the future. I miss you a lot. Good luck with everything you guys are doing out there, and I'll see you guys next time.